Greetings, everybody, and welcome to a very special discussion podcast on WWE 2K23. I'm your host, Richard Billy Jr., and tonight I'm joined by Mr. Adam Vale. How's it going, Adam?
Bam, 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 bam. I'm John Cena. Well, I can't do his voice, but in my head, that's how John Cena always sounds. It's me, John Cena, Peacemaker.
Yeah,
Oh
Peacemaker.
man, Peacemaker. I love that show.
Yes.
I love
Yeah,
that show.
can't wait for season 2.
Can't wait.
Um,
They should put him in the game. What's up with that? We got
well,
like 7 different Cenas for this one, and then throw in a Peacemaker. I know they probably got to work out a deal with DC or something, but I'm sure DC wouldn't complain because they don't have a game with Peacemaker in it. It's not like,
that's
oh, well,
true.
we got this
That's
other. Oh, it's like, yeah, oh, well, there you go. Because I don't think he's in Suicide Squad.
No, he's not. He's not.
He's not in. So there you go.
We'll see. But that I agree. We're also joined by Mr. Carlos Romero, aka Mr. Vince McMahon. How's it going, Vince?
It's time to play the game. Ding ding. Yo, what up, everyone? I'm just here as a spectator, just to listen to the conversation. So don't mind me. I'm just gonna be a little Vince McMahon, staying on the sidelines before I decide to take over back again for my kids.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. So today we just want to have a brief discussion on the newly announced WWE 2K23 season pass. Obviously there was some DLC that they announced that's going to be a part of this season pass. I know we have some pretty strong opinions. Adam and I have some strong opinions on some stuff that's coming. So we're going to take this opportunity to share with all of you in case you missed the news. So let's dive right into this. We're talking about the season pass for WWE 2K23. And they did announce there's going to be 24 additional superstars spread out across 5 different DLC packs.
And this is similar to what they did last year. When they had it with that whole thing,
pretty much that's exactly what it is. The same thing they did last year. The only difference this time around is that I guess obviously there's some different superstars in there, but we're going to go through all of these packs and just give our opinions on some of this stuff because I do have a few issues with some things that I saw, but let's dive right into it. All right. So the first DLC pack coming is the Steiner Row pack. This will arrive on April 19th, and it includes Scott Steiner, Rick Steiner, B-Fab as the manager for
non-playable. They specify that because remember we had that whole thing with Scarlett and people weren't sure what was up with that, so now they have to clarify. Now, and before anybody even complains about it, because that makes no sense. She's only had like one match, at least on TV, that we've seen. I know she can wrestle, but I don't think that's always been her role with the group. I think she's always just been a manager. I can't be in a way because she doesn't really talk on the mic as much, not like a Selena Vega type of situation. So
that's correct. But we'll see because I'm pretty sure Community Creations will find a way to make the character playable.
Of course.
So, and then of course we have Top Dollar and Ashante Adonis. That pretty much is all of Hit Row. So, a quick comment to make on this DLC pack. Obviously, Braun Breaker was not in last year's game. So, and we know that the Steiners got inducted into the Hall of Fame. So, it makes sense for them to be a part of this.
And for those who don't know, that's Rick's Steiner. That's his dad.
Yep.
So, Breaker, he is the son of Rick Steiner.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Scott and Rick, they really are brothers. I know a lot of people, with groups and tag teams, they go by names, but they really are blood brothers. So, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have a problem with that. Hit Row, and I like to call Hit Row Job Row because it feels like ever since they came to SmackDown, they lose to every team.
It's all right. Somebody always has to lose, but you know what? They're gonna get if there's a pattern to Triple H's style, and I've seen it already, and it's almost the old way, and the way Vince used to do it, where they bring you in, you job like crazy, and then after that they boost you up. Mm-hmm. They do this seesaw, and it's the same thing. He'll bring certain people in, then they start jobbing, and then all of a sudden now you see them getting their comeuppance. and they're working their way all the way up the ladder. So I have a feeling it's going to be the same thing with the Hit Row. I have no doubt. I don't think that he was like, you know what, I'm going to bring you guys back. Yeah, we fired you, whatever. That was my father-in-law, but don't, I'm going to bring you back. You're going to be the best jobbers out there. You're going to be so awesome laying down to everybody else, making them look strong. It's going to be great. No, he's going to put them on the map. They're going to do their thing, especially Top Dollar. Remember, we watched him on that WWE Most Wanted. Remember that collection show? And he was pretty much like the host. Mm-hmm. He was doing all the driving. He was with Undertaker. He was with all these people. And I was really surprised when they did the release with him. And then even more so that they don't ever acknowledge that he had another role behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, whatever. But no, I don't. I think they're going to do big things with them. I think it's going to be fine. And I know I saw some scuttlebutt before. They're like, oh, it's not the same without Swerve. Swerve helped because he was a mouthpiece. But the team itself, you got a high flyer and then you got a big man. What more do you want? That's the balance.
Yeah, well, I know Swerve was also the leader of the faction. So I understand why people want to see him in there. But that's not happening, at least not right now with it.
And from some more history with it, that they were already a team. Swerve was added. They put them together, but the Top Dollar and Adonis, they were already a team with BFAB. That was already a thing that they had. You know, I found that out after the fact when they were doing interviews talking about when they got the text from Triple H said, you know, hey, we could bring you back, that type of thing. He was like, you know, when they said we're bringing you up main roster, we're going to put you with Swerve and the whole thing. I was like, oh man, I just thought he was part of the group.
Yeah,
I thought they were all, you know, boys and stuff. No. Put together.
I agree.
Like the Shield, same thing.
Yeah. Well, so I don't have an issue with that DLC pack. But
I do. Wait.
Whoa!
I can't believe you just brushed over this. I don't believe this, Rich.
Yeah.
What? Big Papa Pump, holla if you hear me, or we have to say it the way he said it. Yeah. Holler. He's not there. He would always say holler. He's not there. That's the upsetting part. When I saw this,
I agree.
Now, and people are like, oh, I see all these weird. I gotta stop looking at the internet because there's a lot of shit that's messed up with it. Because people, maybe it's a time thing. There's younger generations, they don't know, but they forget that he was that character in WWE. Remember, he had that feud with Triple H. He came in with the Big Papa Pump. You know, he made it big when he was over in WCW doing all of that, but he did use that character in WWE. So when I saw this, I'm like, oh, come on, just have it as like an alternate version or an outfit or something where you click it and then you see it switches. They didn't mention anything like that. They haven't answered any of those questions. So to me, that was an upsetting part right there.
Well, no, I agree 100%. Do you think that it's possible that could be my faction?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that could definitely that could, because when they sign these Legends deals, it's not like for one type of character. You know, when for example, Mick Foley, when he signs off on these deals it's not just for Mick Foley, it's for Cactus Jack, it's for Dude Love, Mankind, it's the whole shebang, it's the package.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, most likely we're going to end up seeing that, just like some other characters that we'll get into. I have a feeling that's what they're going to do, and then it's going to be up to the community, and they're going to be creating all the characters like what we've seen where they port them over. They found ways to port them over, and that way we can make them playable through all the other modes to get them out of the My Faction, because unfortunately that is not a feature that they were able to produce in 2K23, which is if you get a My Faction card, and let's say it's the Big Papa Pump, for example. Let's say we do get a card. It's Big Papa Pump. It would have been awesome if once you get that card, it also unlocks that character in the game for other game modes in the universe, whatever. It doesn't do that. And that was something a lot of people wanted because there was a bunch of creators in the community. What's this guy's name? That makes all the awesome creations that he's able to take them out.
What's the status?
Right? For example, like he pulling them all out, doing amazing work, getting these guys playable. And this is something everybody was asking for. It's like, shoot, if you know that you have all these great character models that are not in the game, but people would love to play as them out of my faction, just give us an option. We'll play it, my faction, to get those cards, and then keep going. It's a win-win, right? Because they want people to play my faction so they can sell them packs and stuff. Well, here's a tie-in. But no, they said they weren't able to do it, and it's not happening. So there goes that. But yeah, to your point, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a My Faction card version, because we've seen alternate versions of plenty of others in 2K22. Remember, Seth Rollins had a bunch of them. He had that infamous one where he came out with the 2x4 that was on fire, and he lit the stage on fire. I remember I was like, oh, this would be awesome. And then I think it was What's the Status who made that playable, that you could download that character. And that was the only one that ever mattered. In fact, I think in my universe one, I just disabled all the other Seth Rollins. I just wanted that one to come out with the fire and everything. Oh, it was awesome. So yeah, it sucks, but that's probably what we're gonna get.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go to the second DLC. Pretty sweet pack coming on May 17th. We have Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Tiffany Stratton, Elton Prince, and Kit Wilson. Now, you predicted that the Good Brothers were going to be in it, so that was an excellent prediction.
They had to be. They had to be.
Oh, absolutely. I believe Tiffany Stratton is an NXT talent, so that's good for NXT. And Elton Prince and Kit Wilson, that's pretty deadly. And they are supposedly getting called up to the main roster, so I'm okay with that, right? With that pack for sure.
Oh yeah, no, this one is going to be the one that I'm really excited for. And this is the second month. This is for month of May, right? Because the other one's April. This is May. This is what I'm excited for. But again, same type of deal. What about alternate outfits for Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows? Are we going to get where, remember what they had the nerd shirt and all that stuff? Because WWE has rights to all of that. That was awesome with the meter. Remember the nerd meter and all that? They also changed their theme song, but it'd be great if they still kept their old entrance, because they were supposed to also be in the last one. And part of the big layoffs, a lot of wrestlers got cut, and they were a part of that. So I'm glad that they're in there. There's so much you could do with them. I mean, just for the fact that they called it the Too Sweet, we know what they're referencing, because now we could do a lot with that, especially with AJ. We could put them in a group, or we could do the whole thing with Cody and do that, the whole Bullet Club. And I know some people feel like it's been done to death, but it's still fun to do with these characters. It's no different than like the NWO. That's been done to death forever too, but we still love putting those characters together and throwing an NWO shirt on a guy and be like, all right, and in my legend mode, this, in my universe mode, this is it. This is my NWO crew, and they all come out and stuff. So I'm excited for it. I like them as a tag team. And I'm thrilled that they're back, and I'm thrilled they're back in the game. So for me, that's a highlight of this. Everybody else, that's great, but this is the standout for me. This is it. The Good Brothers.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. The third pack is the Race to NXT pack, arriving on June 14th. So this includes Harley Race, Ivy Nile, Wendy Chow, Tony D'Angelo, and Trick Williams. Now, I don't believe that we've ever had Harley Race in a game before, in a WWE 2K game. So that's a pretty good addition. Wendy Chow is NXT. I don't know who Ivy Nile is. I would assume that she's NXT also.
Or NXT UK or something. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that one. But
Tony D'Angelo, NXT, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, the issue I have is Trick Williams, because Trick Williams is always pretty much like the side manager for Carmelo Hayes. Anytime you see Carmelo Hayes, you see him. So I know that they did do interviews, and 2K said they held back some of the roster for DLC. So this is an example of somebody that should have already be in the roster, and they just made him DLC. So
this is this fluff. This is added packs. Like, we need another set. How can we do another set? Oh, let's just throw all of these, because honestly, this is like, I can't say that I would be excited when this drops. Like, oh, I can't wait. No. I mean, the Harley race, for some Legends match, I'd like to see his entrance with the King outfit and do that whole thing. But it's really not going to do it for me. The rest of it also doesn't do it for me. So there's always one. There's always one pack of these that was like, and that's this one for sure. I'm not going to get super excited when this drops.
I agree. So that's a little disappointing. Let's go to the next one, the 4th DLC pack. This is the one that obviously everybody is looking forward to, I think, for maybe 1 or 2 reasons. It's the Revel with Wyatt pack for July 19th. Obviously, we have Bray Wyatt, Zeus, Valhalla, Joe Gacy, and Blair Davenport. The only people that I care about on this pack, Bray Wyatt and Joe Gacy.
Same.
I don't care about the others.
This is when I saw this, I was disappointed for 2 reasons. One, because of the date. This is months into it. This should be the first pack, because as we all know, Bray Wyatt was supposed to be in the 2K22. The Fiend was supposed to be in there. We saw the back end images. We saw the My Faction pack cards, all of it. Then the story stuff got leaked out from the code that he was supposed to be part of the My Rise and all this stuff. This should have been the first pack. And no, we're waiting 3 packs. We're waiting going into the summer to get this and to get Bray Wyatt. Not mentioning the Fiend or Uncle Howdy or anything else, just Bray Wyatt. I was hoping, and this is what we discussed, and I feel like everybody who's really into any of this was hoping, is that we were going to get some kind of Wyatt pack, similar to what they did with Undertaker. Where Undertaker, you got Undertaker. Remember, there was like a whole pack of Undertakers from different time periods and stuff. Why couldn't we get something like that with this, where we can get one where he looks like from when he's on the Firefly Funhouse set? We have the cult version of Wyatt. We have the one with the meat smock. Remember when he was with Matt Hardy? And throw in the Fiend. You don't want to do the Uncle Howdy because technically that's a different character and the whole thing. But still, there's plenty more to do. And again, I could be jumping the gun. We could go and play this and see alternate, and alternate could be one of these. But they don't mention it. So it just makes it seem like we are just going to get Bray Wyatt, most likely with the new entrance, with the door opening, and it's that whole thing. And that's fine for the first few times. But, that's way too long. That entrance is too long. I'm sorry. That is much longer than when he used to come out with his lantern and stuff, because you're waiting for the door to open and the lights and stuff. Sometimes it's longer than his matches. It's almost like the Undertaker scenario. So, again, when we were talking about with the first pack with Steiner, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if we see all these alternate versions of Wyatt and the Fiend in My Faction cards. And then again, we're relying on the community for the creations to port those over. And that's upsetting that they even have to bother doing that, because this should be a no-brainer. Even if you don't put them in a game, get it. You want to make as much money as possible, make it part of season pass, the whole thing. Then start it up, put it in the first pack, get that ball rolling. People would be excited. They definitely. It's not one of those situations where you get a season pass and then you get the first pack and then you cancel and you get a refund for the other half. You don't. They already got your money. So I don't understand why wait for a character that is so popular, with so much hype as we've seen, when they spent this whole time were teasing with the White Rabbit and all that stuff, and he was coming back, and now you're doing it again to play with this character. It's disappointing, very disappointing.
I agree, it is disappointing. And as for Joe Gacy, I know he has the faction schism, so I know they wasn't going to be able to fit some of those people, including the Rock's daughter, in this game, obviously, but I'm wondering if they're still going to reference them, because he's part of that faction. So I don't know.
They won't. No, if they're not adding the characters in it, they're not going to mention it.
Yeah.
Because then it's people are going to point to that. If they hear Corey Graves is someone mentioning it, they're like, oh, they talk about it, so they must be DLC. They must be coming down the road somewhere. And it's like, no,
I agree.
False hope. But the creation center's there. We can always go down that road.
Absolutely. In the final DLC pack, Bad News U pack, August 16th. We have Eve Torres, Wade, Bad News Barrett, Damian Kempt, Andre Chase, and Nathan Frazier. Wade Barrett, I'm interested in Wade Barrett. I'm excited to see
That's
that.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
That whole pack. That's the only one I care about.
And the rest of these, I believe, NXT, with the exception of Eve Torres. Yeah.
Legend. No, this is upsetting because when I saw this, I'm like, oh well, you're gonna put in Wade Barrett, get it, former wrestler, hoping he's an announcer, and throw in some of the other ones. Where's Pat McAfee? He's had some matches, and we've seen signs in the images, so there are Pat McAfee signs, unless that's just for him as an announcer. Maybe that's it.
I agree that that's a missed opportunity if he's not in the game as a playable wrestler, because he's been with WWE long enough where you can't have the excuse of him not being in the game.
He wrestled at WrestleMania. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. So that's a missed opportunity. And since we're talking about that now, what are some other people that you think should have been in this DLC? Because obviously there's a couple others that are missing from this list.
My boy Bronson Reed.
Yep.
He's getting the pass on this. This makes no sense because we know he was in the last one. Again, when they released, he was removed, but all his content was there. Well, it came later, his outfit. And then he even tweeted, he was like, listen, this is when he was not with WWE. He said, I don't care. It's not about the money. Just put me in the game. I already did all the scans. You have my assets. Just do it. People are creating me. So just do it. And they didn't do it, but they put all his stuff in there. So here it is. Now he's back and he's not on this list. I'm like, you have his model. You did it.
Yep.
What is the problem? What's the holdup? There's not much difference besides his music. Everything else is pretty much the same.
So, I wonder if this is a situation similar to what they did with Johnny Gargano when people saw that he wasn't listed as being on the playable roster, and then he made a tweet saying he reached out to 2K and they confirmed he's going to be playable day one. I don't know, but I hope that is the case because he's getting a much bigger push on TV right now.
You said you saw something that he made a comment about it.
Yeah. Tonight he did send out a tweet of the images of him, the 2K model of him, and he didn't. That's all he did was send out the image. There was no other comment. It was just the image of him as a model in 2K. So I don't know.
So that makes me wonder if that was the old one. If that was from
it probably was
that when he had that one done and was like, hey, they have my model. Why can't they just drag and drop in the game?
I do hope that they are going to listen to the fan feedback because obviously the fans will be vocal about that.
Because I remember a long time ago, I forgot which wrestler it was. Maybe it was Rob Van Dam. It was someone, and they had signed a deal, and they were like, "There's different deals for different merchandising when you sign up, and there's different contracts." And we know this when wrestlers from NXT get called up, and there's a different pay scale because they work less dates in NXT as opposed to the main roster, and it's all kinds of stuff. Remember, there was that whole thing where how Aleister Black didn't have the 90-day no compete because it was anyway. The whole point I'm getting at is that there's different deals with the contracts, and maybe something's going on that he has a new contract, but it's not specified regarding his merchandising, and likeness, and maybe that contract needs to be updated. And that's the only thing I can think of is some kind of updating of licensing and rights. Because they can't say, well, yeah, we had another one and we'll just go off of that. If it's not listed in his new contract that they can sell his likeness, then they can't do it. Maybe it's a legal thing because on the digital front, we know they have his model. We know they did a scan. He's posted. We found all his assets. It's there. He is good to go in our eyes. So I have to think it's just a legal issue that's causing the blockage there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
So that's it. It's it. Or they want to be cheesy, and again, that's it. We'll call it the cheesy zone. If they just dump it in my faction, and it's like, oh well, this is how you get to play them. Womp, womp. Womp, womp.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, we'll see, but that pretty much is the season pass. I know there was some other things you wanted to mention that was in the news today regarding the game, so I'm gonna give you the opportunity to.
Yeah, it wasn't too much, but it's stuff like with my GM. They added, they mentioned that there's other shows that you can control. There's WCW, NXT. They have a few more GMs that are going to be playable, which is great. McFoley and a few others. So you can switch those around. That's fun. I wasn't a big fan of my GM. Maybe I'll put more time. I know you played a lot of that. Every time I would jump on, I would see you playing my GM. I was like, damn.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed my GM, but obviously it was missing a lot of stuff. And then of course a lot of the big matches like Royal Rumble and stuff, you couldn't play any of that in the mode. So
yeah,
I don't think they fixed that much.
They added more modes. War Games is not in it. As one of the modes. There are a few more modes that they added, and they talked about adding a bunch of assets and stuff to created wrestlers, so you could make even more created wrestlers depending on what new assets they added. I'm assuming it's got to be more of just cosmetic stuff like hats and then jackets and scarves and stuff like that. Maybe make your own MJF with a different type of scarf. Do those type of things and make your own Uncle Howdy with a top hat and trench coat. I don't know.
Okay,
well,
that's not
we'll
bad.
See. But this is the issue that I have with all this is that besides the missing, that's another one, Uncle Howdy, and some of those. I get it. You don't have time for creating the models, whatever, but you have an art department that can create assets. You can create the skins and those sort of things. Then just add those assets to the creation center so that way people can then make them themselves. That's it. And I know it can be done. Case in point is with the Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed had that skull suit. I have his suit. There we go. So for those looking. All right. So you see he's got the skull, he had the jacket. Also, this was added into 2K22 in the Creation Center.
Wow.
Like months and months after it launched. And so people started creating him, and then they were sending images to Bronson. I forgot his real name, but they were sending images to him on Twitter, and he's like, yeah, I know. He said, I did everything, and now they added my assets. So why not just go the full mile and just dump the whole model in? Why are they doing this? But the point is, they eventually dropped his assets in. So why not do that for the other ones? Drop Uncle Howdy mask with the hair and everything. But like, here, this is what we got for you. Go nuts. Create anything around that. So that's what I'm hoping they'll do. And now when they did this with Bronson, they did not make a big deal out of it. It was just, we made some updates. We added some things. It usually came in an update. And there would, of course, people that scour to see what's new. There was a lot of new hairs that was always added, different hair models and stuff. And then poof, we saw this singlet and this asset and this entrance gear. So it can't be done. And let's just hope that they decide to go about doing that again. It would be great if they announced it, that they did something that way. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to get that this go around. Maybe for the next one we will.
Yeah, but one thing I will say, I do hope that there is some bonus stuff that they are going to add, because I do recall last year they added that NXT 2.0 arena as like a free update. So I am hoping that they add some stuff. Now, I don't know what they're going to add, but I do hope they have some other stuff planned that they haven't told us.
Well, I'm still surprised that they didn't add any funny gimmick matches. Where's the Buried Alive match? Where's the Coffin match? Throw some of the silly ones in there. That way, I mean, we have Halloween Havoc and we have the wheel and all that. And it's like, come on, let's spice it up. Throw these funky matches in there. They don't really do those matches now, but it's still part of the history, and you can dump those in just for fun. That Inferno match, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, we're not getting those. At least they haven't announced. If they were in there, they would have announced that.
Yeah, I think so.
It could have just been like stipulation, like it'd be singles match, and then maybe once you go into options, like, hey, you want a singles casket match? You want a singles, buried alive, or something fun like that. Do the I Quit is still in there, right? I don't remember if I did.
Yeah, that's still there.
That's still in there, right? Okay. Yeah.
So we'll see, but in any event, I think that concludes the discussion. Unless there's some other stuff you wanted to mention about the news today.
No, that's it. I was just surprised. And who knows? Maybe it's a Gargano situation, and there's just so many names out there and so many wrestlers that there's some slip through the cracks, and I'm like, but the way that's right, he is in the game. I don't think that they would keep it a secret if these were related to like My Rise. Like this, like, oh, you do come across this guy here and in the story mode and career mode, and if you win, then you get this character, and that's why we didn't mention him. Like, I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if they're doing that, because I can't recall when we saw this, when they did the same launch situation, listing all the playable characters, all the characters you get for 2K22. Did they mention JBL and Batista? Do you remember that? Because the only way you can get those, I think there's some other ones, but I definitely know JBL and Batista, they were linked to the Rey Mysterio's showcase. You had to beat them in showcase to unlock them.
Yep. I don't recall.
And Eddie Guerrero, that was it. And Eddie Guerrero. So I don't know if they ever listed these characters as playable when they announced their full listing. I don't know, because if that's the case, then that'd be interesting.
Well, yeah, I don't think they did, and I remember they had Dominic as well. That was the other character. Yeah. So but I don't think that. I don't think that. I don't recall them listing it ahead of time. So there could be some surprises for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we know all the showcase matches already, but I'm thinking in My Rise. If you go through My Rise, and then maybe it's like, hey, you're in NXT and you have to go for the belt, and who has the belt? And for those who didn't know, for the North American champ, it was Bronson Reed. He had one from Johnny Gargano, and they can just link him up there, and then you beat him, and then poof, now you unlock him, and he's in your game. Then that's it.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Either way, I know I'm gonna have him, just like I have him in my 2K22. I will have him in my 2K20. That's it.
Oh yeah. So so we're definitely looking forward to the launch next week. We'll get a chance to try out the game and then see what other stuff is in it that they haven't announced. So looking forward to that.
Yep.
But I think that pretty much concludes our talk about the season pass. So any shout outs that you would like to give, Adam or Carlos? And Carlos, are you picking up WWE 2K23 as well?
I'll give the answer that all Xbox players say. I'll wait till it gets on Game Pass.
So that's not going to happen.
That's another. That's another factor there too. The 2K23. And then people can't say, "Oh, 2K." No. We've had the basketball games.
Yep.
The 2K basketball games have been on Game Pass, but
also the baseball games from Sony.
Yep.
Well, the MLB The Show, yep, that's been on there. But no wrestling. 2K22 has not popped up on there.
So gotta talk to Vince, see what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Definitely. But we'll see what happens. But any shout outs that y'all want to give before we wrap up?
Yeah, just shout out what we're about to do after this. For those who are into The Last of Us, we're about to do a recap and breakdown of The Last of Us episode 9. 8. Sorry, 8.
Eight.
I'm jumping the gun because there are only 9 episodes. So episode 8. So that will be next.
Yeah.
And
So,
that'll be still here, Koalition Gaming. So
absolutely. So stay tuned for that. And once again, thank you all for your continued support. We'll have more WWE 2K coverage soon. But yeah, thank you for your continued support, and we'll talk to you all next time.
peace.
Peace.